What if every decision you've ever made lives on in another version of you? An alternate self, walking down a different path. The sheer magnitude of this concept is awe-inspiring. Imagine waking up one morning only to discover subtle shifts in your world. A newspaper headline you've never seen. A photograph that feels eerily familiar yet wrong. A fleeting déjà vu that leaves your heart pounding. Is it a glitch in reality, or is it proof that parallel worlds aren't just sci-fi fantasies, but doors waiting to be opened? Today, we stand on the threshold of a revelation. The notion of parallel worlds has haunted mystics and philosophers for centuries, yet science has recently begun to whisper its truths. In this episode, we'll journey from the allegorical depths of Plato's cave to the cutting-edge fringes of quantum theory, unveiling how these two realms, ancient wisdom and modern physics, converge on the mind-bending possibility of multiple selves living out every choice. This convergence is a beacon of enlightenment in our quest to understand the nature of reality. We'll explore lost teachings from secret schools that trained adepts to slip between dimensions, learn why powerful institutions buried these practices, and decode the symbols they left behind as whispered breadcrumbs. Along the way, you'll hear first-hand accounts of awake dreams and side-shift experiences, moments when the veil thinned and ordinary people glimpsed their mirror image lives. By the end, you'll grasp the science and sorcery behind parallel universes and discover simple ritualized methods to sharpen your perception, methods that, if practiced with respect and intention, can heighten your intuition and open doorways in your own consciousness. So dim the lights, let your mind stretch beyond the confines of the familiar, and prepare to challenge everything you thought you knew about reality. The gate to the multiverse awaits, and your role in this exploration is crucial. Are you ready to step through? Long before blackboards and particle colliders, ancient sages hinted at a cosmos far richer than the one we see. In the Vedic scriptures of India, textual treasures older than the pyramids, a passage describing hundreds of thousands of universes coexisting like bubbles on a cosmic sea. These weren't poetic metaphors, but metaphysical insights. Every decision and breath spun off a new reality. Centuries later, Plato whispered of shadows on the wall in his Allegory of the cave. Prisoners see only silhouettes, convinced that the shadows are the whole truth. Yet beyond the cave entrance lies a blinding, vivid world. Could that allegory mask a warning about dimensions beyond our own? Plato's cave suggests that our senses may only graze the surface of a far grander multiverse. East Asian traditions developed parallel visions. In classic Taoist texts, the 9 heavens describe layered realms of spirit and matter, realms you could slip into through disciplined meditation. Buddhist cosmology goes even further, cataloging countless Buddha lands, each with its own laws of physics, peopled by versions of us, learning slightly different lessons. These traditions treated the cosmos like an infinite library of experiences, each book a world we could, with mastery, open and read. Yet as these ideas spread, they threatened established authorities. Medieval Christian leaders condemned any notion of alternative spiritual realms as heresy. However, monastic mystics in the West preserved esoteric manuscripts in secret, embedding clues to cross-dimensional travel in coded marginalia and labyrinthine diagrams. Those hidden symbols survive in the margins of dusty tomes, cryptic invitations to those brave enough to decipher them. Fast forward to the Enlightenment. Immanuel Kant drew a line between phenomena, the world as we perceive it, and noumena, the world as it truly is. Kant admitted we might never penetrate noumenal reality directly. Yet, he opened the door for a radical idea. Our sensory universe might be only one of many masks concealing more profound truths. In the 20th century, physicist Hugh Everett shattered conventional wisdom with the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. He proposed that every quantum event branches reality into divergent paths, an infinite tree where each leaf is a universe. Schrödinger's famous cat, both dead until observed, became a metaphor. On one branch, the cat purrs. On another, it lies still. It was science echoing ancient spiritual teachings, suggesting that what mystics intuited, physicists could now describe mathematically. But mainstream science has often sidelined the multiverse as untestable speculation, while rigid skepticism dismissed spiritual accounts as fantasy. The result? A fragmented dialogue where cutting-edge labs and hidden monasteries each hold half the map. Only now, on the edge of a new renaissance, are scholars and seekers daring to weave these threads together. In the next section, we'll explore the core ideas that unify these visions, peeling back the layers of consciousness that allow us to glimpse and, perhaps, cross into parallel worlds. Prepare to journey from sacred scrolls to quantum labs as we decode the heart of the multiverse itself. At its essence, the concept of parallel worlds asks us to imagine reality not as a single thread, but as an immense tapestry. Each decision, no matter how small, weaving off a new strand. In this first deep dive, we'll unpack the mechanics behind that tapestry, how choices and chance collaborate to spawn alternate dimensions, and why ancient mystics and modern scientists arrived at startlingly similar conclusions. The branching tree of reality. Picture a colossal tree whose trunk represents your life at birth. With every moment, every thought, every step, every whisper of intent, the trunk splits into branches. One branch follows the path you know. Another veers off toward a life you almost lived. Perhaps one where you pursued music instead of math, or stayed in that city you once loved. According to Hugh Everett's many worlds interpretation, the quantum realm operates this way. Each subatomic event chooses every possible outcome simultaneously, creating a forest of universes. In practical terms, that means at this very second, there exists a world in which you reach for coffee instead of tea, a world where you miss the bus, and another where you never wake up. These are not mere hypotheticals, but mathematically valid realities, though forever hidden from each other by the fragile envelope of our singular perspective. Mystical mirrors, ancient practices of crossing. While physicists mapped this branching tree on chalkboards, medieval alchemists and hermetic adepts explored parallel paths through ritual and trance. They spoke of mirror gates, ceremonial setups using reflective surfaces or polished metals. One documented account from a 12th century Spanish mystic describes a midnight rite. By intoning specific vowel sequences while gazing into a silver basin, she claimed to glimpse shadow selves, living alternate lives, offering cryptic guidance on choices yet to come. These mirror rituals weren't frivolous novelties. They were attempts to synchronize the practitioner's consciousness with adjacent branches of the universal tree. Symbolically, the basin's reflection stood in for the multiverse's infinite mirrors, each catching a different facet of you. Modern parapsychologists call this diachronic vision, but the core idea remains unchanged. By shifting awareness, one can momentarily peer into a neighboring reality. Schrödinger's cat meets the mystic's cat. The famous thought experiment of Schrödinger's cat, alive and dead until observed, captures the same paradox that seers confronted centuries earlier. In one medieval grimoire, a sect known as the Order of the Twofold Path painted a dual-state cat on ritual cloth. They believed the feline symbolized the threshold between worlds. If you could honestly simultaneously state contradictory things in your mind simulator, on the cusp of dimensional transit, their meditative practice involved visualizing the cat, both resting and prowling, merging those images until the boundary between them blurred. And they claimed those who succeeded reported fleeting glimpses of alternate lives. The tension of paradox. Why does this matter? Our ordinary minds recoil at the paradox. We crave one answer, one outcome. Parallel world theory or practice forces us to hold competing possibilities simultaneously. That tension, uncomfortable as it is, awakens a deeper faculty, cognitive flexibility. This mental gear allows us to embrace uncertainty and see connections beyond our habitual lens. This flexibility is the first key to crossing over. Without it, any attempt at ritual or meditation falls flat, like trying to tune a radio while insisting only one station exists. By training yourself to entertain multiple you scenarios, you prime your consciousness to detect the subtle vibrations of a neighboring world. Tease for the next section. We've uncovered how choices seed new realities and how mirror gates and meditative paradox can crack open that cosmic web. Yet these are just the mechanics. In the next chapter, we'll delve into the lived experience of parallel world encounters, the telltale synchronicities, the emotional imprints, and the warning signs that you've slipped, if only for a heartbeat, into another you. Prepare to hear astonishing first-hand accounts and learn how to interpret the echoes they leave behind. In Part 1, we saw how every decision, from the quantum to the quotidian, branches reality into infinite paths. Now, let's explore the hidden contours of those branches, the lived experience of parallel world encounters, the myths that obscure them, and the subtle signals that mark a crossing between dimensions. Synchronicity as a dimensional echo. Have you ever met someone and felt an uncanny déjà vu, as if you'd known them in another life? Or stumbled on a phrase in a book that perfectly mirrored your private thoughts? Psychologist Carl Jung coined synchronicity to describe these meaningful coincidences, moments where inner and outer worlds align. But what if these events aren't random? In the multiverse framework, synchronicities can be read as faint echoes from an adjacent universe. Your awareness momentarily vibrates in resonance with a parallel self, allowing a snippet of that reality to bleed through. Emotional imprints, the soul's breadcrumbs. Parallel world travelers describe an emotional residue, a charged feeling that lingers after a glimpse beyond. In one documented case, a writer tuning into alternate paths reported vivid sadness upon returning, as though mourning the life she saw herself leading in another branch. This soul sorrow suggests that consciousness doesn't merely peak. It temporarily inhabits the emotional frequency of its mirror. Recognizing these imprints can become a compass. Note it when a sudden wave of inexplicable feeling washes over you. You may have brushed against your doppelganger's existence. Common misconceptions and myth-busting. Parallel worlds are mental delusions. While schizophrenia produces fragmented reality, genuine cross-dimensional experiences are consensual and often imbued with cohesive insight, not disorientation. Only gifted psychics can traverse dimensions. In truth, anyone can learn the mindset shifts, mental flexibility, ritual focus, and symbolic navigation that prime the mind for interdimensional resonance. Crossing is dangerous and destabilizing. Without guidance, sudden shifts can feel disorienting. However, with proper grounding techniques and a clear intention, crossings can be safe explorations rather than perilous leaps. The veiled rituals of hidden orders. Secretive societies across history encoded multidimensional practices into layered ceremonies. The Sufi Isfahan circle, for instance, used swirling dervish dances not merely as spiritual expression, but as kinetic keys. The dancers' whirling was designed to align inner chakras with cosmic spiral patterns, effectively tuning their consciousness to the frequency of a neighboring reality. Meanwhile, Himalayan yogis developed mirror mudras, hand gestures traced in the air to sketch symbolic portals, inviting the mind to walk through. These rituals share a common logic. They combine movement, symbol, and altered states via breath or mantra to shift perception. Modern neuroscience confirms that rhythmic motion and repetitive patterns can entrain brainwaves, opening windows for visionary experiences. The ancient masters understood this empirically, long before labs measured alpha and theta bands. Signs you've slipped. Temporal anomalies. Clocks may flicker or freeze. Your sense of elapsed time warps. Memory crosstalk. You recall events that never happened in your known timeline, but feel as real as childhood memories. Placebo synchronicities. Objects shift position inexplicably, as if your parallel self moved them. When these occur, resist panic. Instead, anchor yourself with sensory touchstones, grounding stones, a familiar scent, or reciting a personal mantra. These anchors act as anchors that pull your consciousness back to your primary branch. Teasing the next step. We've mapped the mechanics and the lived texture of parallel world encounters. But theory and experience alone aren't enough. In the next section, Practical Applications, we'll learn simple, systematic rituals, mind-body exercises, dream journaling techniques, and everyday practices to actively cultivate dimensional awareness. You'll discover how to harness synchronicities, interpret emotional imprints, and ground yourself safely after a side shift. Theory and first-hand tales have shown us the hidden architecture of parallel worlds and how brief crossings can ripple through our reality. Now, it cultivates your dimensional awareness with 3 practical methods, rituals, and exercises that blend ancient wisdom with modern neuroscience. First, mirror meditation practice. Goal: tune your mind to adjacent branches of reality. Setup: sit comfortably in front of a non-distorting mirror. Dim the overhead lights and place a single candle beside you for soft illumination. Centering breath: close your eyes. Inhale for a count of 4. Hold 2. Exhale 6. And repeat until you feel grounded. Gaze and intone. Open your eyes and focus gently on your reflection. On each exhale, silently repeat a simple mantra, such as, "I am more than one." Maintain soft eye contact. Avoid straining. Witness shifts. After 5 minutes, subtle changes may flicker across your reflection. A tiny shift in expression or lighting. Note these without judgment. They're signals of resonance with a parallel self. Journal immediately. Record any perceptions, emotions, or visual anomalies. Over time, patterns will emerge, revealing your personal mirror code for cross-dimensional attunement. Caution: if you feel dizzy or disoriented, close your eyes, resume normal breathing, and ground yourself by touching a textured object, e.g., a stone. Second, synchronicity mapping. Goal: track and interpret meaningful coincidences as dimensional breadcrumbs. Daily log. Carry a small notebook or use a smartphone app. Jot down the date, time, and context each time you encounter a striking coincidence. Meeting someone unexpectedly or hearing a repeated phrase. Pattern analysis. At week's end, review your entries. Do certain people, numbers, or symbols recur? These may indicate parallel echoes you're subconsciously tuning into. Intent setting. Each morning, set a simple focus. Today, I will notice echoes of my alternate lives. This primes your mind to catch faint signals rather than dismiss them as chance. Pitfall to avoid: overinterpretation. Not every coincidence is cosmic. Learn to distinguish emotional impact from trivial repetition. Third reality anchor ritual. Goal: maintain stable footing in your primary reality after crossings. Choose your anchor. Select one or two physical objects that feel deeply you: a smooth river stone, a favorite crystal, or a personal trinket. Morning ritual: hold your anchor in your palm. Close your eyes and recall today's primary intention: work, relationships, or personal growth. Whisper a grounding affirmation: this moment is home. Evening closure. Before sleep, hold the anchor again. Reflect on any unusual feelings or visions. Gently reaffirm: I return fully to my primary path. Why it works. Neuroscience shows that tactile sensations combined with verbal cues strengthen neural pathways, reinforcing a sense of self and reducing disorientation after trance-like states. By weaving mirror meditation, synchronicity mapping, and reality anchor rituals into your routine, you'll sharpen your perceptual filters and cultivate a balanced curiosity, open to other dimensions, yet firmly grounded in your chosen reality. Each practice builds upon the last. Meditation reveals faint echoes. Mapping helps decode them, and anchoring ensures a safe return. When you're ready, we'll conclude this exploration, weaving all the threads into a resonant conclusion that empowers you to continue your journey with clarity and wonder. Let me know when to proceed to the conclusion. We began this journey by peering through the looking glass, questioning whether the subtle ripples in our daily lives might be echoes from parallel worlds rather than mere chance. From ancient Vedic hymns, singing of countless universes, to quantum physicists mapping infinite branches of reality, we've traced the threads that connect mysticism and science. We've seen how mirror meditations can reveal fleeting glimpses of alternate selves, how synchronicities serve as breadcrumbs, leading us across dimensional thresholds, and how purposeful rituals keep us grounded in our primary reality. But the true power lies not in theory alone. It's in integration. By practicing mirror meditation, synchronicity mapping, and reality anchor rituals, you've learned to attune your awareness, decode cosmic nudges, and maintain stable footing after a crossing. These techniques are more than esoteric curiosities. They're tools for expanding your intuition, enhancing your creativity, and deepening your sense of interconnectedness with the multiverse. As you move forward, remember that every moment of curiosity, every what if, lays the groundwork for discovery. The multiverse isn't a distant city waiting to be explored. It's the collage of your choices and perceptions woven into the vast tapestry of existence. When you open yourself to these dimensions, life becomes richer, brimming with unseen possibilities and hidden guidance. Now, I invite you to reflect. If you could step into a parallel version of your life for just one day, which path would you explore and why? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your curiosity might spark a breakthrough for someone else. If this exploration resonated with you, please hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss our next deep dive into the hidden realms of reality. Thank you for embarking on this adventure with me. May your mind remain open, your intuition ever sharp, and your sense of wonder guide you to new horizons, both seen and unseen. Until next time, keep questioning and exploring, and never settle for a single version of your story.